What's up, guys? Welcome back to the E&G Pod of Thunder with your boy, Young Denzel, and with my co-host.
What's poppin'? What it do is G.
And we're here with current football referee, former football coach, former casino boss in the flesh, former DJ, former Patriots ball boy. This guy has done everything in life. He has stories on stories. We're going to have quite a podcast for you. My guy, Tom Comella.
How are you?
Yeah,
What's going on, guys?
Thanks for coming, Tom. Tom,
Yes.
let me get this question out of the way. I know you were a ref for football.
Yeah.
Have you ever slapped a parent?
Have I wanted to or actually slapped a parent is the question. But I've never slapped a parent, but I've wanted to, put it that way.
Oh, man. I bet I used to coach soccer for kids. And then after that, I transitioned into being a ref as well. And some of the parents are just nasty.
Yeah, but when you're actually out there, you kind of focused on the game. You don't really, you block it out, basically.
Yeah.
So what's worse, football parents or football coaches? Because you got both sides of it.
You do get both sides, and the spot that I'm at as a referee, I'm a line judge. So I have the home side, and I have the sideline. So I get the coaches in the ear all the time. So, but it doesn't bother me.
It's part of the game.
It's part of the game.
Right?
You treat them with respect, they'll treat you with respect. It's all good. It's all good.
So it sounds like football parents are probably worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Football parents are worse.
And you've seen it all because your kids have grown up. They're in college now playing football.
Yep.
So where do you think is worse, at high school parents or middle school parents or elementary school? Papa Warner.
Papa Warner.
Papa Warner.
By far, because they I don't know what it is. The younger the kid, the football player, the louder the mouth of the parent for some reason.
You mean like size wise, or you mean age wise?
Oh, I'm talking about age wise. So the the younger the football player, it's generally younger parents on top of it. So they're more vocal. You know, they think they know everything. They think they know the rules, and it's they're always they're always trying to give you their opinion.
So, all right, we got a scenario here. I got my kid on your team. He's a bench player. I'm coming to you, Tom, man. Why isn't my kid playing? He's the next LaDainian Thompson. He's the next Tom Brady. Why don't you see this? What are you saying to him?
Well, that's putting my coach's hat back on, my youth coach's hat. And I always had a meeting at the very, very first practice of every season with the parents, and I set them straight. I say, your kid's playing time is based on their performance in practice. There's no favoritism. Everybody starts off fresh. It's how the effort that are given in practice will translate to how much time they get on the field. And I made it very, very clear from the very beginning, and I never had a problem.
Do you think that is because you did coach in Johnston?
Yeah.
Do you think you'd have more of an issue, say, in the inner city opposed to like Providence, Pawtucket, Cowboys? Do you think those parents are just more lenient because just, the kids you're dealing with opposed to those inner city?
I mean, it's tough to say because, I've never coached in the inner city, so I don't know what the parents are like there. Yeah. But, based on what I've experienced, as long as you set them straight at the very, very beginning from the outset, you don't come into that, why isn't my kid playing conversation, because you've already set the expectations right away at the very, very first practice. So they already know why. So
have you ever ran into any issues? I'm not sure if, those watching, he did also coach his kids, his twins. So do you ever think it was an issue where your kids, because they were probably, I know the Panthers, they were probably the best kids in the team. So did you think you ran into issues where people think you were playing favoritism?
I don't think so, because there's been times, there was one season, our best season back in 2014, where my son was the quarterback, and the 2014 season, I moved him to running back because there was a better, I'd say a kid that wanted to play quarterback, and it made the team better by moving my kid to running back and letting him be the quarterback. And his it's Zach Laverne, as a matter of fact. So his father was really, really concerned about his playing time and everything. I'm like, I'll do what's best for the team. I'll put him at quarterback. I'll put Zach at running back, and I'll put Tom Zach at quarterback and Tom at running back to make the team better. And it worked out great. I mean, we were one game away from going to Florida to play for a national championship.
That would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been nice. I mean, that was even an issue for you at all? Like, you're strictly football on the field. How does that do you navigate that during that time period? Do you think it's hard at all having your kids play for you? Like, is it tough being How do you differentiate being a parent and a coach? Not a lot of people can do that. Some people play favoritism. I've been on plenty of teams with my brother and where we've left because they were parent coaches and they were just playing their kid, even though, yeah, sure, they might have been okay, but then it's him the ball 30 times a game, 40 times a game of Pop Warner. You know, there's coaches like that, teams like that.
Yeah, and
They're
I've
just
seen it.
feeding their kid.
I've seen it, but I, as the coach of the team, and my philosophy was always to do what's best for the team. So, like in that example I just said, it was best for the team to move my kid to running back and not be a quarterback that year because we were stronger as a team. So, and I have seen it where you've had daddy coaches with their kids playing favoritism. I didn't feel I did it. I feel that my kids were worthy of it, and they would get what they would get based on their talents and based on their effort that they gave during practice, just like any other kid. So that's the way I handled it, and it worked out well. I was a very, very successful youth coach.
Does it ever come back though, where they're like, "Come on, Dad, why are you moving me?" In that situation, Tom come in like, "Dad, why are you doing that for?" Like,
no, he understood. And I've always set the expectation as it's a team game, and regardless of how good you are, or I'm doing what's best for the team because I'm the coach. I'm the head coach of the team, so I got to do what's best for the team, regardless of your personal opinions. But he was on board with it, and he understood it, and he was good with it.
I think that's setting a good example for your kids too. It doesn't no favoritism. They're not going to go into any type of like school sports spoiled or anything like that. So
no, because life isn't like that. Life is hard, and you're not things aren't always gonna go your way. So you need to learn that at an early age. So when you get into the real world,
exactly,
and you get those expectations where I may not be the best guy, somebody else may be better, but I have to prove myself in order to get to that top spot.
Absolutely.
So hopefully I taught that to them as a young man, young men.
Yeah. My father was my coach growing up when I played soccer. Oh man, we would just fight all the time. I was like, leave me alone, Dad.
Opposite of Tom and his kids.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But my father was doing the same thing that Tom was doing. He was just being like reasonable. He was being smart. He was telling me how it is, and I was just like, no, absolutely not.
So you were the one that was making it difficult.
Yes,
not
absolutely.
looking back on it.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Tom, who was a quarterback for most of the youth season, except for that one season that I mentioned, him and I would always battle back and forth.
Right.
Why did you call that play? You should have called something else. But him and I would always go back and forth a little bit about it. So he was opinionated too, but he always called what I had. We wouldn't like change the play or anything like that.
If not, hit the bench.
hey, I'd bench him just like I would anybody else that didn't listen to a coach. It didn't matter that they were my kid, but I was tougher on them than I was on others.
Looking back on it, do you wish you would have changed that, or do you?
I don't regret anything I did as a coach. Honestly, we were very successful. It was a great experience for all kids. I just had a kid, go into the Marines that I recruited back in 5th grade, and I kind of mentored that kid not only as a coach, but after. I was no longer a coach. I mentored that kid and make sure to send him on the right path. Shout out to Lee Ray, who just signed up for the Marines.
Good for him.
So he's and he gave me a lot of credit on Facebook too for doing that. And so I treat him like I'd treat any one of my players. I saw 2 of my players last night, Buffalo Wild Wings. Nice. One of my stars too, Justin Powell and Tom Colombo, both guys that they had thanked me again for the experience that I gave them, in youth and taught them life lessons. And that was so rewarding just to hear last night, literally last night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy how like sports is more than sports? Like, it brings you like it's a family atmosphere once you go like kind of war with someone like on the field in battle. And does it for you being a coach? Does it get more than being like their coach? Like, do you feel like their father figure for some people?
I do, and Lee Ray was a perfect example of it, where I felt, inclined to make sure he's on the right path. I brought him to workouts. Him and I worked out together and stuff. Talking to him on the phone and stuff like that, trying to guide him a little bit because he had a kind of a tough childhood himself. So yeah, I wanted to be more like a father figure, not just a coach too, and he's one of them.
No, that's awesome because, like, after school, those coaches, when your parents aren't around, they are like your mentors.
Yeah.
They set you straight. They're there to listen. They're there to have, just just be a friend when you be an ear to speak to when you need it.
Absolutely, very rewarding.
Get back to like maybe on your end, like you growing up, did you have anybody like that in your life you can look up to, or shout out?
Yeah, I played football in youth for a few years. My dad was one of the assistant coaches. So
Were you
I
the next one, Danny Thomason?
Nah, I wasn't even close to as good as my boys are. I was most improved player, but I played youth in football in Virginia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Must be some big boys out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of competition out there, and it was we literally had what we would have in the state of Rhode Island. We had it in our own little city.
District.
Yeah, we had like 12 teams at
Wow.
youth football in our city, let alone the whole state like you have here in Rhode Island. But it's crazy.
Yes, so like get a little bit more detail on that. Like, was it someone like were you ever going through anything or, like helped you get over to like next step, or were you ever like battling anything you needed help with?
No, when I was in my youth years, I played youth for like 3 or 4 years, and then I played in high school. But when we moved back to Rhode Island, I played at Smithfield High School, so we weren't very good. we were
never been good.
Yeah, senior year we won 2 games, homecoming and Thanksgiving, and that was it. But no, like I said, my dad was one of my coaches in youth, and he helped me along, and I kind of wanted to do the same for my kids as he did for me. So I wanted to coach and be involved in their lives, and that's what I did at 6 years old. I got him into flag football and coached him all the way through 8th grade. So I wanted to do it because my dad did it for me.
Oh, for sure. Do you miss it at all? That bond, like going to practice, coaching your kids, going to all your practices?
Yeah, it does go by fast. I do miss it, but now as a referee, I kind of like what I do now because now I don't have to go through the grind of all week to get to the game. I just go to the game and show up and get paid now.
Yeah.
So it's, before I volunteered, thousands and thousands of hours. I was also the vice president of the league too. I had a lot of administrative stuff on the other end of it, not just coaching. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I had a ball during those years, literally from 2009 to 2015. It was awesome. It was awesome.
That's good to hear. That's awesome. And you also mentioned earlier, off cam, that you worked in the casino industry, right?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Right out of I graduated Roger Williams back in. I'm probably your oldest guest too, by the way.
So far. Tom Marty Bird.
Yeah.
On cam, the Ozark mob boss.
Yeah. Well, I back in '92, I graduated Roger Williams, and then 10 days after graduation, I moved out to Las Vegas. I wanted to get in the casino business. So
Wait, so stop there. So you graduated. Did you have a plan in place, or were you just like, you know what?
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
It was basically I decided, in spring semester of my senior year, I'm either going to get into the finance industry or get my Series 7 or go into the casino business. And I said, what the hell? Why not? I'm young and stupid. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. So I drove out to Las Vegas with what now is my wife.
Oh, nice.
We moved out there together, and I got it. I started with a big education, big diploma from Roger Williams University. I went out there. I couldn't get a job because everything is who you know out there. So I was working at the pool shop at the Excalibur Hotel, selling rafts at $7.50 an hour with a high school education. So my parents was not too thrilled about that. So the guy that on my breaks, I used to go up in the casino and I used to go to the craps table. I used to watch these guys. I'm like, man, that's so cool. That's and I asked the guy, I said, hey, how does one become a dealer in this town? He's like, oh, well, you could pay thousands of dollars and go to one of these private schools, or you can go take the classic community college of Southern Nevada. It was like a $150 course. Go through that and become a dealer that way. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll do that, right? So I did it. I took the course and stuff, and then I wound up auditioning for at a local casino outside.
Wait, so
you have to audition?
You have to audition. Yes, you do.
Wait, so what's that entail?
Like, do you need to show some personality or something like that?
No, it's not like a a comedic audition,
yeah.
Right? So no, it was where because I went to school for a craps dealer. I had to go and I had to actually physically deal the game of craps. So everything is a procedure and how to do it, where people stand and stuff, and where the chips are placed is all in relative to their position on the table and stuff. So you actually have to go through that and go through each position on the craps table and physically do the job and see how And the audition means if you pass it, they'll offer you a job. If you don't, then see you later. Basically.
All these people at every casino, they're all doing auditions.
Yeah, they do auditions before they get their first job.
So it's like a kind of like a skills test.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep, and how much you know and how much there. And I started out at a little casino out in Henderson, Nevada, right outside of Las Vegas, and I got that job. So I started dealing craps.
So you're like, Mom, hop off my back.
Yeah, exactly.
I got the job.
At that point, it's like anything to get out of the $750 an hour
for sure.
pool shop at the Excalibur Hotel. But so I got on and I started dealing craps, and then from there, they encourage you to learn other positions. So I learned how to deal blackjack. I learned how to deal roulette, Caribbean stud, all those games, and they happened to be opening a new casino. So I did that for a while. And they were opening a new casino, so they moved me over to the new casino and promoted me as what's called a box man and a floor supervisor. The box man was the guy in the suit that sits at the craps table watching the dealers make sure they do their job.
They do it right.
They do it right, and
the customers are doing like what they're supposed to be
correct.
doing.
Nobody's stealing. Nobody's
Integrity.
stealing. Everybody's doing it right.
Yeah.
You know. And then I'd be a floor supervisor, and which means I would be in charge of the pit of the area table games, and then I would do that, and then. If the shift manager was to take a day off or something like that, I'd be a relief shift manager, so I'd be in charge of the entire casino on my shift. And this was a small casino to start with. Boyd Gaming Corporation, which now they're one of the largest. They have like 30 some odd casinos throughout the country right now. But I started doing that, and then I got promoted again and went to a bigger casino in Las Vegas, Sam's Town Casino.
Is that still there?
Oh yeah, it's still there, and it's on the Boulder Highway.
You have buddies over there still?
What's that? I have people in the industry, but not at that particular one.
You sound like a boss. I have people in the industry.
In the industry, yeah, it is a small industry for the most part. But yeah, so I got promoted there, and then I moved out. I got promoted again and moved out to Kansas City, and we opened a riverboat out there back in 1995. So they promoted me to a pit boss. So I was actually a pit boss on there and a relief casino shift manager.
Headliner on LinkedIn.
Yeah, pit boss.
Pit boss.
If you ever wonder, want to know with Casino, the movie Casino, they do a good job at one thing. They go through, I don't know if you remember the scene in Casino where they said, well, the dealers are watching the players, the boxman's watching the dealers, the floor supervisor's watching the boxman, the pit boss is watching the floor supervisors, the casino shift manager is watching the pit bosses, and the casino manager is watching the casino shift managers, and the eye in the sky are watching everybody. That is accurate.
Tom's like deja vu. I remember this.
That is completely accurate. So
it's like a chain of command.
Yeah, exactly.
Is, yeah.
Exactly. So I was open to Riverboat, Kansas City, and then that closed, and I went out to Mississippi and became a full-time shift manager there. Was promoted there, and I was in Tunica, Mississippi, and then Indiana. As well too. So I worked for Boyd Gaming Corporation, and I was pretty much in charge of the casino on my as a casino shift manager. You're in charge of the entire casino. I'm talking not just the table games, I'm talking slots, security, food and beverage, hotel, everything.
That sounds like you don't go to sleep.
No.
Like
On your
and
if you have the graveyard shift or what they call the swing shift, the night shift,
the worst shift.
Is it the
worst shift? Is it like the busiest shift too?
The swing shift, the night shift is, but it's like the graveyard shift is considered like 3 a.m. till like 11 a.m. But during that nighttime and when the assistant general manager and general manager are off property, you're the guy. So I was the guy to cut people off from drinking. I was the guy that would throw people out of the casino. I would be the guy that would be in charge if somebody was counting cards or stealing or anything like that. Yep.
But Tom, you seem like such a nice guy. But I'm assuming you don't fuck around.
No.
You're everyone's worst enemy. You're like, fuck, he's coming around. Leave.
It's a funny story. One of the, and this is probably my best casino story, is I was out at Silver Star Casino out in Philadelphia, Mississippi, middle of nowhere, Indian reservation, but we were in charge of running it. And we had a 36-hole golf course. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful place.
36,
out in the middle of nowhere. And we had a lot of celebrities come through. So Mike Ditka was coming in. And now this is the time that he was the head coach of New Orleans Saints. Remember, they traded the whole damn draft for Ricky Williams?
Yep.
They negotiated Ricky Williams' contract in our casino.
That's cool.
That time. So he's there. Him and all his buddies are there, right? So I greet him. So he comes in this limousine. He comes in, and I greet him and stuff. And I set him up, set him up. He wants his own private craps table with him and his buddies. He goes to eat at the gourmet steakhouse. So I go sit with him at the gourmet steakhouse. He wants to talk. He doesn't want to talk about football. He wants to talk about gambling. He just loved gambling. His mother still went to junkets in Atlantic City. He just wanted to talk about gambling. So I met him. Had some rapport with him at dinner, and then it was time for him to go gamble with his buddies. So he had a $50,000 line of credit. So
Is that a lot?
What's
For someone
that?
like him, is that a lot?
Yeah, it's a good amount. So we set him up with all ropes around the craps table, and he's drinking wine and he's having a good old time, and he starts losing. And
Oh boy.
And he starts losing. He loses his $50,000 line of credit. So we had the authority to go up to double. So he keeps taking another 10, another 20 grand out, another 30 grand out. So he's at $100,000 now. He's losing and losing and losing at this craps table. This is about 1 a.m. right now, and so he's at $100,000. Now Iron Mike Ditka is drunk. He's not happy. He's losing money, and he's out of it. He's out of his mind. So it's $100,000. I can't give him another dollar to his credit line. So I have to call my general manager, wake him up in the middle of the night. I'm like,
He's home.
oh, he's home. Yeah, I wake him out of his sleep, and I said, Dick is at $100,000. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to give him more? What do you want? He's like, no, cut him off at 100 grand. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all his chips, he's got nothing in the rack. All his money, basically chips are on the table. So his buddy, if his buddy rolls a seven out, and he's done, he's going to come to me and say, all right, give me another 20 grand or what have you. And I got to tell Iron Mike Ditka, who's drunk, who's belligerent right now, I got to tell him, sorry, you're cut off. You're done, right? I'm like, oh God, right?
So you're nervous at this point.
Oh, I'm very nervous at this point. So his buddy goes on a 45-minute roll. Not only does Mike get his 50,000 back, he gets 100. He cashes out at 120,000.
Oh my God.
He pays off his $100,000 marker that he's out, and he gets another 20 grand. And he's happy as a clam after that,
What's the odds of that? I feel like it's always the rich people that make out. I go there, I would have lost everything. They would have cooked my house.
It's funny because he's probably telling this story too.
What's that?
He's probably telling the same.
Yeah, I came back. But yeah, and so he was the head coach of the Saints at the time. So they negotiated Ricky Williams' contract. That during that trip he was there, up in one of the suites and stuff, and they negotiated his contract right there. So it was crazy. That was I think that's my best casino story I give you.
You always think like these football deals are happening like in
football offices.
No, they're happening in casinos.
Yep.
No, business happens like in casual settings. I feel like
Absolutely, it does. It can happen on a golf course. It can happen anywhere. So
exactly.
But yeah, Dick he was a fun gambler, and he loved golf.
If he would have lost, you're turning into Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
They're going in, you gotta...
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
So what do you like? Say I'm losing. What do you say? I'm Mike Ditka. What would you say to me? You're saying like, all right, you gotta get the fuck out of here.
No, I'd say basically, sorry, Mike. I checked with my general manager. We can't extend no more credit for you. Sorry about that.
And he gets rowdy. You're just calling security.
Yeah, I mean, you treat him with respect. I mean, you do the best you can. I mean,
hoping they'd understand at that point. It's like,
yeah, especially at that casino. It's so funny. I've had high rollers and stuff that you know all the high rollers because of my position. You know all the high rollers and stuff, and there's been guys that are super, super nice, man. But you get drinking and you get losing money. You kind of brings out the worst in people.
Yeah.
So and I've been MF'd. I've been, and it's, you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's like I've had customers that motherfucked me. Screaming at me, swearing at me, and then the next morning they come up to me, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know I was drunk last night.
Yeah. So you kind of understand it at that point. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it happens, but yeah.
Has anything ever happened where it's come to like blows or they try to fight you?
There's been times, like I said, with security at a different casino up in Tunica, Mississippi. There's been times where I dragged a guy out of his car because he was about ready to because he was drunk and he was about ready to drive it through the hotel.
Oh, so, shit.
Yeah, it's normally I let security handle that, but at the time
you were there.
I was there and I was closest to the guy, so I ripped him out of his. Out of the driver's side because he was going to hurt somebody. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's casino business can be crazy. It can.
Have you gotten to gambling yourself? Are you a bettor?
I used to be into it, living in Vegas and stuff. And at that time, at that point in, back in the early 90s, you could gamble on your breaks. Like you could be a dealer and, because every hour you get a 20-minute break, you can actually go up and start playing the slot machine for your break. And then they go back in the day. Now you can't do that anymore. But
so why can't I'm like the biggest novice of gambling. I've never got into it. I'll tell you the story of why. I went to Vegas for my 21st. I was like, all right, let me do blackjack. I played the $25 hand. I lost $100, not even exaggerating, like under a minute. And I'm like, wow, never doing this ever again.
Kicking the nuts,
never doing this
isn't
ever again. I'm like, this is absurd. Like,
yeah.
Why do people like this? And then I'm not sure if you remember this year. I think it's probably like when the Twins were like 7th grade. The Patriots opened up against the Titans. Do you remember this? Like season opener? Mm-hmm. And they were like giving 6 to the Titans. And I'm like, this is the easiest bet of all time. And I'm not even a Patriot fan. I'm like,
right.
I'm betting on the Patriots. I bet like $500. I won. I'm like, this is so easy.
Right.
Next
now
week,
you're an expert. Now you're Jimmy the Greek.
This is so easy. Next week, bet like 7 games.
Yeah.
Lost them all. I'm like, wow. I'm done. I'm done. That and the casino and the Vegas, I've never done it again. I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I've seen, and the sad part is I've seen people, lose a lot of money over a series of time. And we have had the ability to cut somebody off from gambling.
Like completely, they can't
completely.
they come in. You're like,
yeah, completely.
Yeah, you could. I think you could ban yourself from the casino.
You can ban yourself, but
really?
But we could tell other, at the time and with my position, I could say, you know what, you're done.
But the casino is so big. How can you even tell?
In Twin River, they have facial recognition.
Okay, well, how about back in the day? They didn't have that back in the day.
Back in the day, the pits that the amount of table games we had, probably the max. It's probably that place in casino in Mississippi I was telling you about. I think we had 125 tables. You can tell with people. They know if somebody's excluded. You had a picture of the guy.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it.
There's a reason.
But now you're right. Now with facial recognition and everything else, it's a lot easier now with technology.
I have a buddy who banned him. He was in the hole. He did like the responsible thing. I guess he banned himself in the casino, which it probably takes a lot to do that, right? And he went to the casino to watch like an event, like a fight. They're like, hey, buddy, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
You can't even go in for an event or anything?
I
If
guess.
you ban yourself, that means the casino.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
not just playing. It's the casino.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, I just want to see this fight. But I mean, it's smart because maybe the temptations that you get a couple of drinks and you're back in there. But Tom, what is it about gambling? Do you think from your experience? Do you think it's you get addicted to winning or the embarrassment of losing?
No, I think that you get a little taste of winning, and you think you can do it all the time.
Oh, like me, like that one week.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
oh, this is so easy. Let me bet $1,000 next week. Blues.
Yeah, my first experience with gambling was my grandfather took me to what is now Twin River, but used to be Lincoln Greyhound Park, and I hit a Quinella, the first bet I ever made at 10.
What's that?
That's betting the first dog and the second dog.
Okay.
In either order.
How old are you?
I was 10 at the time.
Okay.
And that was my first bet I ever made. But of course, my grandfather made the bet for me. But once you win, you think, oh man, this is like you said, oh, this is easy. I can do it. And now it's so readily available. You pick up your phone and let's see, I can bet Villanova right now, live bet.
Yeah.
It makes it so easy to gamble now. It's good and bad as long as you have your limits and you don't overdo it.
I don't know what it is. I've just never been into like gambling at all. Like I feel like I work hard for my money.
And some people are like that. They're like, I don't want to throw it away, and literally like you did, you could throw it away in 2 minutes, be down $100 and be like, wow, you know what I did to earn that $100?
I'm saying even if it's like 9 out of 10 times you're sure to win. I guess I have like trust issues, but I'm just like, no, like I don't. To me, it doesn't like make me feel good. Just
if
like,
you take
leave
it
up to chance.
if you take it for entertainment, like if you go to a casino with $500, say, you know what, if I lose it, I don't care.
Exactly. That's
I want to go. I want to go have a good time. If I win, great. If I don't, I get it. But for people to go there, it needs to win. That's a problem.
If
you go for entertainment purposes or something like that, it's cool. It's a great. I like it. I've been burned by it. I think I've lost more than I've won in my lifetime. So, even as educated as I am, and I know how to count cards, and I know that I've still lost.
You know how to count cards.
Yeah.
by yourself, or do you need somebody else to like kind of help you out with that? You can do it by yourself.
Oh yeah, I was as part of my job. Part of my job was to identify card counters.
You're never invited over for casino night. That's
all right. It really didn't help me out in real life, but I was at least able to identify it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was part of my job was I had to identify card counters.
So you said you're recruiting kids, you're counting cards. He's a mob boss over here.
We don't want to talk about any more than this.
No, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know how to count cards. I don't know anything about it. It's never intrigued me. Like, I don't even want to go to the casino sometimes. Like, I have friends. He's like, oh, do you want to come with me to Turn River and just hang out with me? I'm like, no. Because then I don't be that one night. I'm like, oh, let's just start blackjack. And then I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's that easy.
Yeah, it is that easy. And especially, like I said, with sports betting and everything online, and you can do it from your phone and your computer nowadays. It's like, man, you got to really be careful nowadays.
For the Super Bowl, I almost bet. First time since that day, I'm like, oh, Cooper Kupp. 95 over and under for his yards. I'm like, that's all day. Mm-hmm. I missed the time slot. Thank God, because I would have lost. Because he only got like 77. I see that like in my head. I'm like 95 Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, the more confident you are, the more chance you're going to lose. It seems like it's just human nature. I don't know.
You know what the cool thing about casinos is? I feel like it's still cool that you can smoke inside.
What's that? Yeah,
you can smoke inside because you could like enjoy a cigar, a glass of whiskey inside. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the only.
I hated it as a dealer, by the way.
Yeah. Oh.
Because then you get the you're like picture you're dealing blackjack and you're knocking the hell out of somebody and here comes the smoke. Right in your face.
Did that happen a lot?
You know they're doing it on purpose. But it happens. That's the downside of it. But
yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Right?
Oh yeah.
It's probably some ass.
That's happened before.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience. But.
Oh man. I got to get to the casino.
This casino talk. Now you want to go. You're going to Twin River.
No, not a big casino guy, but I maybe I'll check it out, but definitely not a big on losing.
For sure. So you said that your now wife went with you out to Vegas to start off, and you said you're working the pool place at first. You're going through the struggle. So what was like her mindset? Like, did you feel like? Did she have your back the entire time, and then like that make you?
Well, that's a whole long story. She only stayed out there for 6 months, and then she moved to back to Florida. She worked for Disney, and when she was in college on their internship program, and then she went to, and then we wind up getting back together 3 years later. So.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Yeah.
Love brings you back.
That's it. A few times.
She's a big sucker for a love story.
Oh man, love rom-coms, man.
There you go.
Cry every time.
Yeah. So, so how'd you guys link back up? Like, you just back in the day. I mean, you give her a phone call out of nowhere.
We stayed in contact. And then after a couple years, I went down to Florida to visit her and kind of rekindle the romance. And
guys, welcome back to the EG Pot of Love with our guy Big T, the romantic love story that makes G happy.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's hear it, Tom.
So then we moved her back to Vegas, and then went to then it wasn't a few months later. She wound up opening the we were talking about casino stories. She was when she moved back to Vegas, they were opening up the Hard Rock Hotel, and they hired her as the concierge. So I'll give my wife Beth props on this casino story. So she was the concierge when Hard Rock opened, and she had for those of you guys who don't know concierge, when somebody calls down, hey, I need can you get me tickets to a show? Can you grab me something from the gift shop? Whatever it is, you basically do. So. This is during the time of Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson.
Oh, nice.
So they were staying at the hotel, and she got a call from Tommy Lee because they were under her assumed name, but she knew who it was. Yeah. And Tommy Lee asked for a bottle of KY.
I was just
and swear to God. So she had to get a bottle of KY and just run it up to the room.
Dude, I didn't know you can ask for that at a hotel.
Concierge, you're a VIP.
Oh, wow.
Vegas, anything goes, right?
Yeah.
But that's a true story. That's a true story. My wife back in the day. So I don't only have the good casino story. She's got one too.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
Yep.
As a concierge, she must have a million. Yeah.
So that was right at opening too. She opened up the Hard Rock Hotel back then.
Nice.
So you guys lived in a couple of different states with each other?
Yeah, and then we we moved. Then I got promoted. We went out to Kansas City for 3 years, and then we got married in '98, and it wasn't a month after we got married, and they wound up closing the casino and transferred me out to Philadelphia, Mississippi. Now, Philadelphia, Mississippi, for those who don't know, especially at the time, it was 1998. There was nothing there. I mean, you had to go 45 minutes just to go to a Applebee's.
So that made your bond even stronger.
Yeah. I joke with her. I said, "Hey, you remember that for better or for worse thing that the preacher said?" Yeah, we're going to Philadelphia, Mississippi. So I bought the house sight unseen. She never saw it. I bought the house. It was a beautiful house. I mean, $125,000.
Oh, wow.
On a beautiful on a lake and everything. But it was nice.
So
but
you guys were doing quarantine before COVID.
Yeah, exactly. The whole town was quarantined, but
it was a good time though. I'm sure, like you.
yeah, it was a good time.
memories
She
and stuff
hated
like that.
she hated living there because
Yeah?
it was in the middle of nowhere.
I can never do that.
But
I can never do that.
But she was hired on. They hired her on as a trainer, so she would be a corporate trainer. So she would train people in customer service or whatever the things that she did. So so she enjoyed it, but for as much as she could. And then we got moved to Tunica, Mississippi. Moved there and lived out there for a while. And she was a trainer. They just transferred her, and that's where the boys were. The boys were actually born in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were born in 2022.
Are they Memphis fans?
2002. What's that? Yeah, they are.
Are they really?
Yeah, they
Oh,
like
wow.
Memphis. They root for Memphis because they were born there. Of
course, yeah.
And they got John Moran now, so
Yeah, exactly.
they went through the struggle. Now they got a good team.
Now they got a good team, but
What was your favorite place to live?
I really like Kansas City. You talk about a place where it has everything. They really have everything. They got the football is beyond words. I mean, Arrowhead Stadium. There's nothing like seeing a game at Arrowhead
You've
Stadium.
been to Arrowhead?
Oh yeah, a few times.
I've always heard the aura, but I didn't know if it was all like.
It is the loudest stadium
That's
by,
what it is, the
by
loudest,
4.
right?
It's the loudest stadium. Has a world record, I think, too.
What makes it? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm kind of like a little.
It's the
naive to
fans.
this.
The fans
Is
are
it?
nuts. They're nuts, crazy for their team. The whole city on Friday would wear red. Like if you work at a bank or you work anywhere, you wore red for the Chiefs. So it is an unbelievable passion they have. You know, like Gillette Stadium is nothing compared to.
It's in the middle of nowhere
Whoa,
too.
man! Whoa!
I'm telling the truth.
Patriot fans.
I'm telling the truth.
I'm
Hey.
not a Patriot fan, but you know that's how people get.
Oh,
Oh!
it's in the middle of nowhere, kind of too. But like, I mean, it was, but yeah. I
Are
know
you
what
like a closet Chiefs fan?
What's
Do you
that?
do
Yeah, I
you
like
them?
the Chiefs. I root for the Chiefs. I do.
So
I
you're
do
happy
root for the
when they won?
Chiefs. What's that? Yeah, I was happy with them. Absolutely. But you know, I was rooting for Brady and the Bucks when they played the Chiefs the following year. But
Hey, you got best of both sides then.
Yeah.
The Chiefs win, and then you got the Bucks.
But the Kansas City had everything. They had great restaurants. They had, I mean, the people were super nice, Midwestern,
Really nice,
people, good values. I mean, always super nice. It
they have
was
a good nightlife too.
What's that?
They have a good nightlife.
Yeah, they did actually downtown. They had what was it? The Plaza they call it, and you know all bars, restaurants, and yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it literally had everything, and it was super. I love living there.
I've never thought about that being like a place to visit. In my head. Like,
What,
I
Kansas
wanna-
City?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just I've never thought about that.
yeah, it's a cool place. It's a cool place to do a road trip to see a Chiefs game.
I definitely want to check out
Yeah.
the Chiefs game.
You'll be blown away by it. Blown away.
Gotta check it out.
Yeah.
No, for sure. See the show? Yeah. So after that, I mean, so do you think that? So I'm just curious about like hearing like a love story. So is that what made you think like, and she's the one, like she's riding with me for whatever? And
We knew we started dating in our freshman year at college. So I met her. She lived on my floor freshman year. So she was literally like 4 or 5 doors down to me. We met like the second day of college.
Oh, nice. Do you remember what your pickup line was?
She'll tell you what my pickup line was, and I still didn't think it was a pickup line. But she said, I said, hey, will you come with me to the bookstore? My girlfriend is about your size, so will you come with me to the bookstore? I want to get some.
that was.
And she thought it was a pickup line. It was the truth. But she thought it was a pickup line, and it worked. But she'll always tell you that story. That was the worst pickup line. But Whatever. It worked. We've been married
it's-
almost 24 years.
It's
so.
not the worst. It worked.
Yeah.
It's the best pickup line.
Exactly. I guess it was then. I should take credit for it and stop denying it.
Yeah, right? Twins, take some notes. Take some notes.
All right. Hey, so what advice do you have for someone who's for a single man looking for a lady?
Oh man, I got to go back into memory banks. This is a long time ago. You kidding, G? Man, just be true to yourself. Just be yourself, man.
How about
That's
someone
it.
who's scared of love? I'm not talking about me.
Scared of it? You got to put yourself out there. You know, if the right person is the right person, you know, you'll mesh and that connection will be there. In my opinion, you know, you can't be afraid. You got to put yourself out there. If you get hurt, you get hurt. You know, but if you put yourself out there and you find the right person, then it's the best thing ever. So
For sure, yeah.
Dude, that kind of applies to like everything I feel like in life, like business, everything. You gotta like put yourself out there. You might fail, but if not, you're gonna be on the other side of it where it's successful and you're having a good time. And you gotta
you'll
put
always
work
get
and
experience.
focus.
You know, always learn from it.
No, for sure, for sure.
Yep.
I mean, was there like a time where was like your moment in life where you were scared to take the next step and you did, and it was completely worth it and changed who you are? You think you changed like your life trajectory and put you on this path you are now?
Well, you know, going back.
Tom, we heard about you. We know you just weren't a one chick man. We knew you were out in the streets, Tom. No?
Well,
I know you paint this pretty picture.
back in the day. Back in the day. Yeah, I guess so. But no, it's you know, I think taking different steps, like having the balls to move out to Vegas, not knowing anybody, and you know, that changed your life tremendously. If I would have stuck around here, you know, I laugh and I tell my buddy Stewie, my best friend, who I say, you know, if I would have stayed here, you know, I probably would have been successful. I probably would have bought real estate at the right time instead of the wrong time, like I did. You know what I mean? But I got a whole life experiences that I have, you know, in the casino business. Sure. And you know,
that's a beautiful thing too.
Stuff. Yeah, it's you know, I've lived life pretty good, so
Yeah.
I'm happy with my choices in life.
Do you think that those like instilled values in you, where like made you go through those struggles, and it wasn't as easy as you thought it was probably gonna be?
It was hard. It
Yeah.
was hard. I mean, even living out in Vegas, you know, when Beth, you know, moved back to Florida, you know, I had roommates and stuff, people I worked with, you know, it was a struggle. I mean, I struggled. I wasn't making much money. You know, back then I was making $75 a day.
Are you thinking like, damn, this was
Nothing.
the wrong decision? Like, were you ever like scared and like, I'm gonna go back home?
No, I was determined to make it. I was determined to make it in the casino business. I wanted to be a boss. I wanted to be a shift manager. And I was, you know, fortunately I was college educated. A lot of those guys aren't in those positions. But, you know, looking back at it, you know, I wasn't going to let myself fail. I wanted to, you know, and I was 23 years old, and I was what they call a relief casino shift manager. So I was running the casino at 23 years old. Granted, it was a small casino.
Still. Yeah.
But I was still, when they put me in charge of it, you know, the guy, Bill Boyd, who was the CEO of Boyd Gaming Corporation, knew me. He knew what I was doing. They entrusted me at 23 years old to run a casino in the middle of the night.
You're feeling accomplished, like
Yeah,
doing
I was like,
something here.
yeah, exactly. I mean, granted, I wasn't making much money, but I was gaining a ton of experience at the time.
Are you doing it for yourself or to prove people wrong? Like people
Kind of both, because I wasn't going to come back unsuccessful. Like that wasn't even an option for me. I wasn't gonna run back home because, you know, I wasn't making enough money, or I wasn't, you know, where I was at. I was determined to be successful in the casino business.
And you're saying like your parents were like, oh, why'd you do that? It was kind of like to prove your parents wrong, prove your friends back home wrong.
Yeah,
I'm doing this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that you know, that drove me. It did. It drove me to learn. You know, I used to learn all the other games on my breaks. I used to come in on my days off and learn other casino games. I learned about the sports book. I went to community college of Southern Nevada not only to deal, but I took other classes, casino management classes. I learned a sports book from Roxy Roxborough, which was the guy that used to set the lines for Vegas back in the day. I wanted to learn the other aspects of so I could run a casino someday and be a general manager.
So you're going full in. You're getting every aspect you possibly can.
Yeah.
It's just like learning to think of football.
I was on the
going
trajectory to be a general manager. I was on the trajectory, and then once the twins were born and my life changed, my philosophy changed. I wanted to move back to Rhode Island. For them? For them, yeah. I would get home at 6 a.m. and they would be getting up at 6 a.m. And, I could never have, we talked about coaching and those, I could never do what I did and be in the casino business. I had to choose, and I chose my family and be a dad. As
chose
opposed
the boys.
to, yeah, because in the casino business, you're working when everybody else is off. So you're working nice weekends, holidays, Christmas,
Exactly, yeah.
Thanksgiving, and I would have never had time to do what I did, for the boys.
So that's another chapter in your life, pretty much. So that being said, did you know? Like, I'm assuming you did not know there are going to be twins coming out. When you heard that news, you're like, wow. I was expecting one. Here's two. How did that change your mindset on that?
Well, put it this way. So we're in, my wife's. We're at the doctor's appointment. She's getting the ultrasound, right? And the technician, is going. I'm looking at the screen. She's looking. Like, oh, that one looks good, and so does that one. And I'm like, wait, one of my wife's best friends had twins, so she kind of knew what to look for. And my wife goes, that's two. You're talking two? She's like, yeah. And I was like, and I was scared to have one, let alone two. And I remember my reaction. I looked down, I look up, I said, God, you have such a sense of humor.
You were the original Josh Gordon Hayward. Do you see that video when it comes out with it's a girl and he's like, oh great, another girl. He wasn't happy, but he had to act like he was happy. He was like, oh no, this is not what I wanted. That's go through your mind. You're like, wow, you're scared for one.
I'm scared for one. Now at two. I'm an only child, so I didn't have a brother. I didn't have siblings, so I didn't. I wasn't prepared. Mentally, but it all worked out in the end. It was awesome. It was a blessing. Yeah, total blessing. Love my two dudes.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, would have been. You still would have changed even if it was one. You still would have come back to Rhode Island regardless.
Yeah, definitely. I chose family over a career.
Oh, for sure.
So I just decided to.
Wait, so you just got up and left, and did you have a backup plan at that point?
Well,
before we get to the next chapter, this is a segue to the next chapter.
Oh, hold on.
The next chapter of Tom.
Yeah, why not?
Cheers.
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 Salute.
Cheers on camera.
Salute for those Italians out there. Here we go.
So the next chapter of Tom's life, here we are, getting into it.
Parenting.
Yeah.
G likes this topic. I like this topic. I love hearing about this. Do you want to lead off? You have a question on you?
Yeah, I actually do have a question. So the boys, they get along, obviously, right?
They get along great. Yep. The best friends.
Would you ever stop them from making the same choices you made?
Would I stop them? No, I would just advise them. I'd say, they're their own men and they need to make their own decisions. I'd advise them, basically the pros and cons of something, and then it's up to them. It's their lives. So Just like whatever school they wanted to choose, whatever football program they wanted to choose, I lay out the facts and let them choose.
So you're not kind of like a helicopter parent. You're just kind of like, hey, this is your life. Live it. I'm going to give you my input.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's their lives they're living. So it's their decisions that they make. So.
Right. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I completely agree with that, but I don't do that. I got a little girl. I gotta protect her from these boys. You know what I'm saying?
I have, and my wife is the protector, and I'm the realist. So I let them, I want to give them guidance, but I want them to live their lives and make their decisions.
Make their mistakes.
They got to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you learn from it,
How do you, not every family has open communication. I'm assuming right now there's open communication. How do you get to that point where there's open communication? You feel you become a best friend and a parent at the same time. How do you get them to feel comfortable to open up to you and feel they can tell you anything?
Well, I think my wife did a great job, and I think I did too. Just being straight up with them all the time. We'll tell them exactly. We don't hide stuff. You know what I mean? We want them to know the truths in life, and if it's good, bad, or indifferent, like they went to spring break, 2 weeks ago in Fort Lauderdale. Go tear it up, go have fun.
Yeah.
Not being don't drink, don't do that. No, go tear it up, go have a good time. We did the same things. We'd be hypocrites if we told you anything different. So, just we want to be true to them and have an open relationship. They can talk to me about anything. I can talk to them about anything. We feel very comfortable as a family, and they've opened up to my wife. They open up to me, and that's the relationship that we have with them. And hopefully, they make good decisions and learn from what we tell them. But ultimately, it's their decision. So
yeah,
it's their
life now. Yeah, you did what you had to do. Now it's on them. Obviously, you're a little backup too.
Yeah,
in case they need it. But
well, absolutely, we're always there for them. So no matter what, no matter how old they are, it's like my father's still there for me.
Exactly. You never stop parenting,
and
right?
I'm still, he's always there for me. So it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like you never had like a moment where you were too involved and you felt like you're overstepping, like being. You said that you let them make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. Is there ever a time we got to step in? You're like, okay, you're not old enough for this. I am making this decision for you.
I can't think of it like a specific incident, but
I'm sure there is. I'm sure, like nothing like too like detrimental.
No, it's nothing that's been like too overbearing about anything. Finances. I always want to instill the value of money in them at an early age. Nick is a finance major at Stonehill, and Tom's a business management major like I was at Roger Williams, but. Instilling them about money and to understand it. And they have great work ethics. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like Nick, he's a full-time football player. It's like, which is like a full-time job already in college. Like Friday night, he door dashed up in Brockton, up in Easton over there to make more money because he spent a lot on spring break. So he knows he's got to go back and earn it. So
good for him.
Worked a couple hours, made whatever $70 or whatever it is, but because he's got to start replenishing his what he spent in it. I love that because it's like you're not sitting on your ass. You're going out and you're hustling. You're making money. You're doing things in life. You're not just waiting for mommy or daddy to give it to you. You're hustling to make it. And
no, for sure. And do you think that they see the values that like I'm assuming they know your story about going to Vegas and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Do
you think they're like, all right, if our dad did it, we can do it too. And like I feel like a lot of people, growing up inner city, sometimes you don't have those parents where you're seeing someone like you doing that. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely something where it's like, it's inspiring. And if I see my dad doing it, why can't I do it? And that's great where like you're putting like, you didn't even know back in the day, but you're putting that courage into your kids, knowing your story.
I've always tried to, they know my story and they know the chances I've taken and, it's come with a cost. I mean, granted, when I moved back in 2003, when they were only 1 year old, I had to live with my parents for 2 years because I couldn't afford. Because when I changed careers, I was making a heck of a lot less than I did in the casino business. I had to sacrifice for a couple of years. I bought, in 2005, when we finally bought the house we're living in now, I bought it at the top of the housing bubble. Those are things that financially set me back. But I'll never, if I would have just stayed in Rhode Island my whole life, maybe I would have been financially better, but I would have never had the experiences that I had. I don't regret anything.
Yeah, and
but
that could have changed how your kids viewed you as well. I mean, now they're viewing you as.
I didn't take the safe route. Yeah. In other words, I took the riskier route.
Yeah,
And it comes with some downside too. It's not all pleasant.
Nothing
great
is.
stories.
Yeah, nothing ever. Yeah.
But no, it's all good.
No, that's
don't regret. No regrets. No regrets.
No regrets at all.
Yep.
Yeah. So some more fun times. You were a DJ too. We have to get into that. We got a DJ at my wedding. That's never gonna happen.
Don't say never. Never say never.
We'll get you there, bro. Don't worry.
All right, well, you can DJ G's wedding. It's gonna happen sometime soon.
I'm retired now, but I was a DJ. In high school, I was a DJ. I had a guy that taught me the business. In college, I started Rocksteady. Music for all occasions. I was a mobile DJ, and I also I subcontracted for In the Mix. Back in the day, it was Kicks 106's mobile endorsed. So I did I subcontracted for them as well too, and I did DJ'd for many years. I did all weddings, proms. I did at Roger Williams. I did their Snowball and did a bunch of stuff. And at the end, I sold all my equipment and stuff to the school. And that's the money I used to go out to Vegas with.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, DJ, that was a lot of fun. DJing was fun. I enjoyed that.
Did you have the vinyl or
Vinyl.
Vinyl?
Oh yeah, I mixed. Yeah, I had to mix. I actually mixed and
Did
did
you?
the turntables
We got-
back
we
then.
got-
SL 1200s
We gotta
techniques.
bring this over here. So you can,
Oh yeah.
That's how I know because you came over and you're like, wow, you have the Audio Teca? And like, that's good. And I'm
Yes.
I'm like, thanks.
That's old school.
I did some,
My days.
I did some hardcore research. I'm like, all right, this is the best one. Then when you came over and you were like, wow, this is legit.
Validated.
My other cousins who's a
Validated
DJ, he's
for
like,
sure.
he's seen, he's like, yo, you got, this is legit right here. I'm
That's
like,
right.
all right. Jeff and Tom both approved.
Yep.
I'm good.
Oh yeah, the big mix was back in the day doing "You Can't Touch Us" by MC Hammer and "Super Freak" by Rick James. And when you had them both RPMs going at the same time, you should be able to go back and forth, and because they had the exact beats per minute on there, so you used to go back and forth, and that was my big mix. That was my
That
favorite.
was your
That was your dance ender?
That was my jam.
That's when the girls were twerking.
That's it. Yeah, before the term was even known.
And Tom's
Yeah.
like, yo, let's get it. DJ Tom on the beat. Look at the girls twerking all over those. Yo, it's DJ Tom, Big D. Oh, Big D, my Big T. Big T, let me say.
Oh, the back in the day, I remember I was doing Lincoln High School's junior prom. I think it was at what was it? At Quinnesset.
Yeah.
Quinnesset.
I had my prom there, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and back in the day, Me So Horny had a clean version and a nasty
Oh,
version.
you put the wrong one on?
No, I didn't put. I had the clean version on, but the kids were yelling the nasty version. So, the administration come up to me, and like the chaperones came up to me and said, "Don't stop playing." I'm like, I didn't play it. The kids are singing the other version, not the nasty version. I played the clean version. But yeah, it was
And
crazy.
they're like, hey, DJ T is the best. Keep rolling.
Oh God, funny stuff. DJing was fun. It was a lot of fun. Before there was DJ Paulie D, there was DJ Tommy C.
Oh, Tommy.
So
hey,
just to keep the record straight.
you had the original blowout.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, man. Did you really?
No, I didn't have it. Not like
sorry,
his. Are you
DJ.
kidding me?
Hey, but you have a good set of hair on you. You probably had. What was you had the same hairstyle always, or did you? Have
No. I had went to the side. Yeah. It was a mess. I don't want to show my my high school photo.
Did you get some braids in Cancun for spring
What's
break?
that? No, I didn't get
The
braids.
box
No.
like Michael Scott with the one braid.
Michael Scott. No. Oh God.
Oh man. Yes, that was your best DJ story. Do you have any good ones?
DJ story.
Oh, you gotta have a million.
Nothing that I can say on air.
All right, you gotta, you
Put it
gotta
that
tell
way.
me one. Like now, you got a DJ, right? You got a party. You go out to a DJ. I always wonder what the DJ's mindset is. You're like, hey, can you play Drake's new song? And they're always like, yeah, I got you. They never play it. So as a DJ, are you
You got
a tip
Yeah.
on the low?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Like,
you, want,
dude.
you want a song played, you know.
Come on, man. Play Drake's new song.
I gotta tell you,
And then-
DJs nowadays they're useless because
Playlists.
there's no lot you could pull up on your phone. I used to have to go and buy the 12-inch vinyls. I used to have to buy the CDs back in the day. You used to have to inventory. Now, let me just throw on friggin' iTunes or whatever and play. Like I can like play it and like go eat and something like that.
Oh, 100%.
Back in the day, you have to stand there, play the music, mix it. Nowadays, they have the laptops and they have everything. I mean, there's like no art to it. Back in my day, there was art to it. You had to be able to mix. You had to be able to, have a personality. You had to be able to. You can't just stand there and pull up a song. You got to go to the store and buy it and make sure you had it.
Yeah,
It's totally different than what it is now. Man, I would, if I was a DJ now, it'd be so simple, so easy.
Oh yeah.
I remember I went to New Orleans once with Effie, and I remember I went out one night and the scene over there, what was Bourbon Street?
Bourbon Street. Yeah.
Bourbon Street. We were on Bourbon Street, and I was just like looking for a club, and I hear Spanish music somewhere. And Spanish, the scene wasn't like Spanish scene at that point wasn't big.
In
so
New Orleans, it wasn't that big at all.
no, so I was like, all right. So I hear, I was like, oh shit, call my ear. Let me go scheme over there, because obviously I know dance Spanish music. So I was like, all right, let's go do it. So I go and like I'm just hanging out, and the DJ comes. He's like, oh, you Spanish? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, where you from? I'm like, oh, I'm Colombian. I was like, he's like, oh, so like he's talking me up. He's like, all right, cool. So he invites me on stage, and he gives me a shout out, and he's like, "Oh, let's give it up for my Colombian boy, my friend." I was like, and everyone's like cheering, like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And then he turns to me like, "All right, get the fuck off my stage." I was like, what the fuck? I'm walking down all pissed, but then everyone's like high fiving me, like, "Dude, you're the man." I was like, "You don't know me. Like, what the fuck?"
Want to go in the back room though?
I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Oh man.
Crazy DH stories, but no, it's all
Back
good.
in the day though, where like, I feel like you were the man of the party though. You were probably like, oh, when you're packing up, everyone's like, "Hey, DJ Tommy C, want to come back to the party?"
Was that your DJ name, Tommy C?
Yeah, everybody, my friends call me Tommy C.
Okay.
Yeah, in high school and stuff,
Oh, nice.
and everything. Yeah, so that was my kind of DJ name
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So you were the man of the party. Was it like that back in the
Yeah,
day?
yeah, you had to be because you're the MC at events and stuff like that. You had to have a personality and turn it on, and yeah, absolutely.
So do you remember your opening line? How'd you get the party started?
Well, it depends. What if it was a wedding, it'd be different than it would be a high school
All right,
prom. If
you're
it's
at
different-
G's wedding. How are you getting it started? Time to dance. What
And
are
it
you
gets
doing?
it gets crazy at my wedding too.
Yeah. So how you starting the party up?
Starting the party, I usually turn to the bridesmaids and the groomsmen because they're the ones that's ready to get. And I would get, hey, what's the biggest? What's the tunes that get you guys going?
All right.
Yeah.
So G, what's the tunes to get you going?
Some I don't know, man. Some reggaeton, some Bad Bunny. It's
Bad
different
Bunny.
nowadays,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
All right,
I mean
so
that's.
just go with it.
I've
Go
been
with it.
retired for many years.
all right.
What's
Some
the opening line? Like, all right, so
Some
we're
Juvenile.
Blah, 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 blah.
Let's get the wedding party up. Just get this party started, and we're gonna start it off with blah blah blah. Whatever music that it was, that they wanted. So that usually got people up, and I had my dinner music, Kenny G, at dinner time, and once that started, once people were ready to dance, I'd get the wedding parties.
and
Their
grooving.
response because each wedding is different.
It's different.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
you gotta cater to
So
the
you
crowd.
got to cater to whatever crowd it is and stuff. So so you get the older stuff done at the beginning, and then you get the party stuff going. When people are ready to get up and get dancing and get down.
That MC Hammer.
That's hey, you can't touch this. Is always a crowd favorite.
You
Always.
still hear it nowadays, every now and then. Depends where you go. You'll hear it.
Yep.
Yeah. I just want to wrap back up. I had a question about the twins actually. So how do you deal with like favoritism? You ever like dealt with that? Like, oh, you're picking Tom over Nick over Tom. They never dealt with that at all. Like, I think it must be tough. Like, even like I'm not sure if G ever had, because G has brothers. Did you ever get to the point, G, where like you're like, damn, I don't feel like I'm the favorite. I feel like he's the favorite.
I was the youngest, so I wasn't really thinking about that. I think they were a little older, so I think it's kind of like a little different. But I knew where my place was, and I think we all knew where our place was. You know what I mean? If I wanted something, I knew who I had to turn to and stuff like that. And
So you think there's low key favoritism?
yeah, but like as like kids, there's a sense of acceptance. Do you know what I mean? Like when you just deal with it your whole life, you're like, all right, so I have two brothers, and the oldest is mom's favorite, and the middle one is my dad's favorite, and I was just the youngest. There was still some favoritism to me too, but I don't know. I just wasn't jealous because that was just my life. Do you know what I mean? Like I just,
I gotta be honest. I've treated, and I can honestly say this. I've treated each one, Tom and Nick, completely equal. They've made it easy for me as a parent because they're both good at football. They're both good students. They're both like they make it easy for me to parent. They really do. As far as showing favoritism, I really no. I can honestly say no. And that's tough as a parent of twins because usually one is maybe a little bit more like you than the other. I mean, Tom has a lot of my traits. Nick has some of my other traits, and it's
You got
like
the DJ Tommy C train.
Tom was always the type A personality, and Nick would kind of go along, But Nick has, Nick's got game. He's got game. He really does.
Hey, Brandon told me.
And so did I at a younger age, But yeah, they both make it easy because they both, I never showed any type of favor to them, to either one of them. I mean, Tom being the quarterback was, and me as the offensive coordinator, as a youth coach, I may have had a little bit more because, we're communicating more.
Yeah.
But Nick was incredible running back. I got to tell this story. Talking about youth football, I got to tell you, there was that 2014 season, because this is a great story. So that season we were dominant. We just crushed everybody. But the first play of the game, I would call 901 quick pitch, and that was a quick pitch out to Tom. And I ran that play for the first play of every game for 7 straight weeks. And he scored a touchdown on the first play 7 straight weeks. Finally, week 8, they stopped it.
Yeah.
But I called that play, and he scored a touchdown for 7 weeks in a row on the first play of the game. It was just nuts.
And he's like, Nick, take a back seat. Tom's number 1 the next 7 weeks.
No, if I needed the tough yards, it was Nick. It was Nick. Nick would get those tough yards up the middle, as a fullback in the position that he played. He was the fullback and Tom was more of a halfback that season. But if I needed a tough yard, like a yard or 2 to get a first down, I was calling Nick's number.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Yep.
We played against them, the Braves. Actually, I played against you 3 years in a row. The Cardinals were on the Cardinals, then Braves 2 years in a row.
Yep.
Whipped their ass every single time.
Yeah.
They were definitely dominant. How about, you got to tell the story about being a ball boy for the Patriots. We have to touch that real quick since we're talking about football.
Yes.
100%. Not everybody does that.
Would you take a little bit of air out of some of that?
A funny story. I'll touch upon that, in my ball boy story. So 86, 87 season, I was a ball boy for the Patriots. I wore the orange X, worked with the officials on the sidelines. I did training camp at Bryant College.
You can't just get to how you got, you're there. How did you even get there, though?
So I lived right behind Bryant when I grew up in Smithfield. And the guy that moved across the street from me was the strength and conditioning coach of the Patriots. So his name is Dean Brittenham. He was, I think, 85. He got with the Patriots, and that was their Super Bowl year. They went to New Orleans and played the Bears and got crushed. But I would watch his house for him and stuff. And so finally one day I'm talking to him, I'm like, how does one become a ball boy?
Yeah, so I was like, wow.
He's like, yeah. He said the equipment manager does that. He's like, do you want me to talk to him for you? I'm like, yeah. So
I'm asking.
He got me an interview with the equipment manager. His name was George Luongo. He had started with the team in 1960 when it first started. And so he got me an interview. So I went up with my dad and went in the locker room and met him and stuff like that. And he was an old Italian guy. And we hit it off. And he was like, yeah, you can do it next year. So
how old are you at this point?
I was 15 at the time I had the interview, but it was training camp in 86, so I was 16. So I just turned 16. And so Bryant being a mile from my house, it was convenient. So I worked with the line. Each ball boy was assigned to a positional coach. So mine was the linebackers. So like Andre Tippett, Larry McGrew, Johnny Rembrandt, all those guys back in the day, that's who I was closest to because I was assigned to Don Shinnick, who was the linebackers coach. So I worked with them during training camp, and then on once the season started, I wore the orange X and went, worked on the sidelines. But I went to a few away games too during the preseason stuff.
Really? That's cool.
I went to Minnesota. I went to LA.
Eight for you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Went to LA, Minnesota. I went to the Hall of Fame game back in '86. We played the Cardinals and stuff, so I got to see the VIP of the Hall of Fame and everything. That was pretty cool.
That's pretty. Not everyone can say that.
Yeah, and then
sick.
I did it in '87, which was the strike year. So that was a weird year because the strike happened, and then they had the replacements come in and stuff. But I was kind of like the head ball boy that year, and everything.
He's always been the head boss. That's where he's going.
I want to overachieve, I guess. I don't know, but
Chief, you gotta watch out. He's taking over the podcast now.
But so I did that, and I actually went to Buffalo, in a regular season game as well.
Heard
too.
that stadium sucked.
Awful.
Which one?
Buffalo.
Stadium's awful.
It's terrible. It's a relic. It was like what Schaefer Stadium was. It was like what Schaefer Stadium was back in the day, back the old Foxborough Stadium. It was, matter of fact, I think it's the same designer, the same architect as well too.
I'm a big
it's terrible.
It's a random life goal I want to do, the accomplishment. I want to go to every football stadium. I've been to a good amount. Mm-hmm. I've never been to that Buffalo one, but I just hear it's the worst. The worst I've ever been to, Hawaii Stadium, horrendous. Mm-hmm. The Charger Stadium is pretty bad too, or it was the one in
the one in San Diego.
Awful. It was so bad.
I've been to obviously Arrowhead, the old Gillette, the new Gillette, New Orleans. I've been to a couple times in New Orleans.
Superdome's the new one?
Superdome.
So the games there are so off the charts. It's
It
so
was
much
before
fun.
they did the renovations.
Oh, okay. It's so
before.
much fun.
With LA Coliseum, obviously with the Patriots, Minnesota, the old Metrodome.
Oh, nice.
In there, I've been to Miami a few times. Been to Tampa.
I'm a Dallas fan, but Miami Stadium sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Well, I've been, the last time I was there was before the renovation.
I haven't been to the renovation, so it's supposed to be nicer now. But like, dude, come on. You guys, I know it's like an advantage, but it should be in a dome.
Yeah.
It should be in a dome over there.
In Miami, yeah. Oh, what are you gonna do?
Why? Because of the heat?
Yeah, but they use that as advantage. They use like the away side. They're right in the sun.
Yeah.
So they're getting beamed on. So, but they host a lot of Super Bowls though, and like every time it's been a Super Bowl, it's rained. So it's like sucks.
Yeah, for if you're a competitor playing,
It does suck.
Yeah.
Heat beamed on your face, like the sun's
for the money that you pay for a Super Bowl ticket. I went to Super Bowl 31 in New Orleans. So when the Patriots played the Packers,
Oh, that's cool.
I went to that one, but
Not cool they lost, but well for you they lost, but still
yeah.
cool to go though.
it was very cool to
Yeah.
go. It was like actually being there. That was crazy, but yeah, going to these stadiums, that is a pretty cool thing to bucket list.
Yeah, I'm
thing,
out. I'm at like 16.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Because I've gone to WrestleManias in Brandon, and they do it at football stadiums.
Yep.
So I've done like 6 just off that.
Nice.
Then when I go on travel, like I always try to go to like an event, even if it's not a football game. I want to go for like an event to go in the arena, just check it out.
I'm trying to go to Vegas in January because I told the
That stadium
twins
looks nuts.
that I told the twins when they turn 21, I'm taking them to Vegas. I got to take them to my old town, right?
Wait, when's their birthday?
January 2nd.
So we can go in Brandon. We're gonna have a big trip.
So I told them I want to take it. So I want to coordinate that with a Raiders game.
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah,
so
that'd be nice.
so that'd be awesome. So hopefully we can
No,
make
for
that
sure.
happen.
Oh my god, that'd beat the shit out of them. Yeah, man, that'd be sick.
So you were a ball boy. You said something about like when they take the.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. When they take their
So I got Nick the job, and I got him to do it for Brady. He's the one that's pumping the holes for Brady.
So when I was a ball boy for him, there was a guy. They call him Bird, and he was a ball boy when I was a ball boy. I forget what his real name is. If you said it, I would say what it was. But he was one of the guys that was accused of deflating the footballs, and he was there when I was there, a ball boy
Really?
with me. Yeah.
And he stayed doing that for that long, and like.
Yeah, they loved the guy. He drove a beer truck back in the day. They absolutely loved him. But I
So
guess
that's his full time job.
it was back then, back in the 80s. But they call him Bird because he used to be a basketball player and he used to be chucking up 3-pointers. So they called him Bird. And it wasn't Jaskinski. It was I forget his name. But anyhow, he was one of the guys that was accused of potentially, allegedly deflating the footballs. But yeah, I knew him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so he worked there. Did you still talk to him or no?
No.
No.
I mean, I'm 30 years out of it. So.
Yeah.
So was that a thing? He was actually taking the air out of the balls, like messing with the PSI.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, wink, wink.
Allegedly. Never proven.
Right. Yeah.
Never proven.
Still got the suspension and everything, huh?
Yeah, well, it's, if you can't believe anything you hear.
Yeah.
Fake news, I don't know.
Don't get Tom political.
Don't get me
here.
political. Don't get me political. It's a whole nother subject.
It's crazy. It's crazy how like, all right, so they'll do that, but just the amount of things they probably don't find out about that, like, teams do is probably just
100%.
insane.
100%. I mean, it's crazy. Even like, who just got suspended for a year? This one got suspended for a year for smoking.
Brandon Cooks?
No.
No, Ricky Williams, I mean,
Oh, he did.
back in the day, a few years ago. But
I don't know, I had a different topic, can't recall. But being a twin football parent, I was always on sideline with you. What were like your favorite plays of the twins in high school? Do you have any like 2 like top ones that you can recall that you just like? I think I was next to you for one of them. You can say it first. I don't know if I'm right or not. Your favorite play, your top 2 favorite plays of Tom in high school, and top 2 for Nick, or three.
oh, God.
They had a lot. They're like Angel. They had 1 million.
Yeah, well, Tom,
Who's just your favorite moment then? If
Tom, my favorite moment was 2018 Super Bowl where he was the MVP the game against LaSalle where they just destroyed them.
Oh yeah.
That was my favorite game. Tom had 3 touchdowns, played awesome. Was just, but the game I really liked, that was a great one. But the game I liked was when we played LaSalle at LaSalle that year. Tom had 5 touchdowns. I don't know how many. Angel probably had a couple of them.
Right, all 5 of them
from that. But Tom never really played with like a ton of emotion.
Yeah.
But that game, one of the rushing touchdowns he came over to Mangate and just was like screaming. I was like, my God, my kid actually played with emotion. He wasn't like business-like and doing his thing. And that game was awesome for him. Honest to God, I was so proud of him. And then the Super Bowl that year, but that same game, on the other side with Nick,
when he absolutely destroyed that dude on punt return. I already know what you're gonna say. Bro, the entire stadium, even the south side, it was a punt. The kid caught the ball. He's turning around. Nick killed this kid. He knocked him out. His mouthpiece went flying. Bro, the entire stadium. Oh! Yeah. Like, he hit everybody in the stadium. It was so bad. They suspended him.
Yeah. They threw him out of the game. My compadres of Rhode Island Football Officials Association threw out my kid, which it was a blindside block. Technically, it was a blindside block, but because he was kind of laid there for like 30 seconds, like lifeless. It looked like almost. They threw him out. They threw Nick out of the game for it.
And Anaya too. Anaya got suspended, didn't he?
Yeah, that was with the fights and stuff after. Yeah. But Nick had actually. Nate Lucier, he had took him out of the game, and then that was the backup quarterback. He knocked out 2 quarterbacks in a state championship game. Nick,
they won by like 40.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Nick was taking kids' lives a lot of the time.
Yeah,
I'll never forget the freshman year when he destroyed that kid from Cumberland.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You just look at their huddle tapes. I mean, both of them are just like sick.
I thought you were going to say for Tom, when he scored his first touchdown against LaSalle. Was it his first touchdown against LaSalle?
When he was a sophomore?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he scored. Yeah, I mean, he threw it to Angel. I mean...
Yeah, both their first touchdowns, right?
It was both their first touchdowns.
Yeah, so I remember I was next to you and you were like... Oh, I remember your Apple Watch said, Tom, breathe.
Yeah, right, yeah. Honest to God, that was a great... Yeah, because they had played New York, the team in New York the week before. And then that was his first game. That was the opening of the stadium there, the new turf, the new scoreboard. Yeah. I mean, it was the 10-year, like the last 10 years of alumni came back. And Tom was he was a sophomore. He just won the job basically. And he didn't let the noise, bother him. He come out, played great. I was very proud of him.
That was definitely
think about it.
A proud parent moment.
Yeah, sure. He's a sophomore taking over, for Chris Hindle, All-State. He's a sophomore. First time a sophomore has started for Croft, I think, ever.
For quarterback or
for quarterback. Yeah, and I was just so proud of him for winning the job and really taking the mantle as a starting quarterback for Hendricken and excelling for 3 years.
No, for sure.
I'm very proud of them. Both my boys, I'm extremely proud of. And now they're doing it at the college level too. So
for like sports education, do you have a specific moment where you're like proud the most, or just like kind of all intertwined? Do you have like a specific moment in general? they have a lot of accomplishments, and I'm sure there's more that I don't even know about. There's something where like you do want to shout them out on video, like hey, you're proud of this specific moment or everything they've done.
I'm proud of them as football players. I'm even more prouder of them as men. Honestly, they're respectful kids, good hearts. That's more important than any football accomplishment I could ever be. As a parent, you're proud of them as contributors to society. They're faithful. They're we go to church together when they're home. They're God loving. Which Hendricken was a part of it too, as well too. But yeah, I'm proud of their whole careers. Whatever they've done, they've been successful. Literally anything that they've done, they've been successful. And that's, that's attributed to my wife and myself, as good parents and the support structure there. But I can't single out a single thing because there's so many little things that accumulate,
Oh, for sure.
On there. They're great kids. Tom and Nick are Jesus, they're our best our best accomplishment.
That's awesome,
in my life. So it's I'm so proud of them, each one of them.
Oh, for sure. Do you think like all those moments you guys have together means more than anything like materialistic you could give them?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, and like I said, going back and decisions made, decisions made to leave the casino business to start a new career was for them. It's for them, so I could be a part of their lives, and I could, coach them, and I can be there for them. So, so in my new career, not new anymore, 19 years in, but, it was, no regrets. It's, they become fine young men because I was a part of their lives. There's something to be said about, people having a nuclear family of a mother and father support system, and kids are fortunate if they have that. And especially in today's day and age, the nuclear family is very, very important.
That's crazy because actually we were just talking about that on a previous podcast with G, and I think we're kind of both on the same side. Like, we definitely would like the female we'll eventually end up talking to. We would like them to come from like both parents being in the picture, and that just I think you've agreed with that in the past is where. Like the twins are coming from a good background, like you said, like that both family structure, and that says something. Like be with your wife and have that both parents in the picture. It means a lot. This is different coming from like the opposite background.
Very important. It's when you have that, you have a lot better success being a more successful person in life and staying out of trouble and making right choices in life.
Absolutely.
When you have that support structure with a mother and father influence.
It's their first foundation, and to me it's important, especially when, like we were talking about earlier, picking a woman, and the same thing for female picking a man, right?
Right.
It's super important, and they don't talk about that as much nowadays, but
absolutely it is very important to get both sides and to have a father figure and a mother figure, that stability in life. It helps.
A healthy father and mother figure. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think that's like a red flag if they weren't, like, say Tom or Nick were going to talk to a female and they didn't have that type of structure in their lives? Are you like kind of talking to them beforehand, like, hey, she, watch out, or are you just saying, hey, make your own decisions, be careful? Like, what would you be your advice if like that wasn't the case for someone they're gonna speak to?
You know what? It's funny because when you're talking about them talking about to girls and stuff, they do their own thing. They don't consult mom or dad on that stuff. They've always been like
super uncool, right?
Yeah, like hands off, like we got this, dad, type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's we've never.
Hey, well, if they're listening to this, they can see the tape. They can review it. What would you say to them if they were going to talk to someone like that?
Just make sure that person is true. They're not fake. They're not faking their lives. They're not. Just see through the BS. You know what I mean? Make sure, if you're going to get a girlfriend, make sure she's true. You don't want somebody that's dishonest, that's distrustworthy, that's not all in for you, and get somebody that's true. Even if they have faults. We all have faults. We're humans, but just make sure that they're true to you. And you're true to them, as a matter of fact, too. It's got to go both ways.
For sure, yeah.
So you were talking about how we haven't even touched this. You said your new job. So can you get a little bit into about what do you do now? And
so it's not as sexy as the casino business. I'm a SLED sales rep for the printer company Lexmark. So it's what SLED stands for State, Local Government, and Education. So I handle those type of accounts. My territory is Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York City, and Long Island. So that's what I do. You think, slinging printers, it's more than that these days. It's more software related, which will drive the printer sales and stuff. So gotcha. I do that. I'm in sales. I've been in sales for 19 years.
So how did you even get into that in the first place?
My best friend, Mike Stewart.
The
Stew Man. Yes, the Stew Man. I saw him last night too. He started me in this industry. He got me an interview with a sales manager, and that's when I moved back to Rhode Island. I worked for his same company, and ironically enough, we work again for the same company because he works for Lexmark now too. So yeah, it's we went from I got him a job at Benny's back in the day. Benny's
The one on
in Greenville.
Exit 24. Oh, no,
In
that
Greenville.
one.
And I got him a job, and then he got me a job with Icon. It was back in 2003, and then it became Rico and stuff. And so now I work for Lexmark, and I'm selling to mostly my biggest customers are school districts on Long Island. Selling them not only copiers and printers, but software that goes along with those things. So that's what I do now. It's not as sexy as the casino industry, running into celebrities or what have you, but
Mike Ditka.
I sell printers with software. So basically,
Yeah, but the sexy part is you're like top salesman. You were saying earlier, though.
yeah, I do pretty good. I was a top in the top 10%. I was what they call Diamond Club winner. So I'm supposed to go to Prague and Budapest in June, but we'll see with all the crap going on in Eastern Europe. It may not happen. So we'll see what happens. But
Maybe they'll go to Cancun. And DJ Thomas can come out.
come out again. I don't care. I want a free trip. I don't care where we go. Let's go to the Bahamas. I don't care.
So you guys always get free trips for like being a top salesman?
Yeah.
It's like a yearly thing?
Yeah, it's a yearly thing.
So where have you guys gone in the past?
Well, that's the first time I've won it. I actually won it for 2020, but because of the pandemic, it's been pushed on there. But I've won it before with my old company. We went to Cancun for 1 year. We had a cruise where they rented the entire ship.
Oh, wow.
And we went to Turks and Caicos and the Keys and stuff, which was fun.
I heard Turks and Caicos is really nice.
Yeah, it was. We only was there 1 day because it was a port stop. So it was. Oh man, we tore it up. We were. That was crazy. I only remember it from the videos. Basically, yeah.
What were you drinking?
Oh God, what wasn't I drinking?
What were you
we were doing shots and we were doing rums and cokes and whatever umbrella
shots.
drinks they had. I mean, we were throwing it all back because it was free.
Hey, twins, take notes.
Yeah. The twins have I think been there recently. So
They're like, actually, Dad, you take notes.
Yeah.
They're doing it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah. Energy.
I'm good right now.
Shit. Well, thanks. It was a good time. And do you have anything else? Any final stories for us?
I think we told a few of them.
I think
the ones that I can tell. But
definitely, I want to get you back and maybe get like a little political view out of you because
I would love to talk politics.
You're
That's my hobby
strong
now.
hand on that, and I would love to see your perspective on that.
If you want, those come in like in 30 minutes, 34 minutes.
No, but I feel like that deserves its own like episode and stuff like that. And
yeah,
from my background, I'd like to see your input 100%. See where you're at, and like with today's day and age. Let's do something really soon.
Yeah, I literally watch nowadays probably more politics than I do sports anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really into it. Been into it for a little while because I think that everybody needs to get educated.
Oh, absolutely.
Every single voter needs to be educated.
Yeah.
And I think you cannot watch the mainstream media. I think you need to watch both sides of it and form your own opinion. No matter what side you're on. I think you need to watch both sides, form an opinion, because the media right now is feeding people bullshit.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, right? For like the last 5 years, I've swayed back and forth. And I'm not the type to just listen to like say NPR or CNN or Fox and stuff like that. I'll listen to everything and I'll read everything too. And I've just been swaying back and forth, and something that I take into consideration, like something that affects my real life. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
it certainly does.
Like gas prices, like literally everything. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people my age, they don't do that. They just like
policies affect your life.
Exactly.
And whoever's in office or whatever party's in office, their policies affect people's lives.
Yeah.
They can either make them better or they can make them worse. And you need to be educated and know who to vote for to do that. Because nowadays you can't just, not like years ago where you just watched TV, watch NBC or whatever, ABC, whatever, and form your opinion. You can't now. You have to really do what you're doing, which is perfect. You listen to both sides, Fox, CNN, NBC or whatever, and formulate your own opinion, because each one of those stations will have a different spin on the same story.
Exactly.
Which is sad because that's not what it should be.
Exactly. And it's just like, wait, so like I'll hear something and I'll be like, I'll hear something from here. It's like, this sounds a little crazy. Let me go over here and I'll listen to this. And I'm like, all right, not who's telling the truth, but like who makes more sense?
Right.
Because a lot of times it's just opinionated. Like,
yeah, they
like,
throw an opinion or an agenda behind every story, and it's awful.
And the thing is, I could see through that.
Once your eyes open to it, and my eyes have over the last few years open to that, then you could say, when they do a story, I'll be like, are you kidding me?
Like tone it down, like relax, like you're making, like what they're making a big deal out of.
So one-sided and slanted
exactly
in the reporting than what you could, if you were a neutral reporter reporting the story itself and the facts of the story, as opposed to trying to sway the audience and report it in such a slant where it makes one side look better than the other in a story.
Exactly.
And that's why I always, and even on my Facebook page, I'm like, guys, you got to look at both sides and form an opinion. Don't get your news sources from one side anymore. I don't just can't do it.
Yeah, I don't like the guys that are just like one-sided and then just one side. It's just like, listen, all right, so I'll entertain the conversation, right? But as soon as I hear something that's a little too biased, I'm like, oh, okay, well, we just can't have this conversation if you're just gonna be too biased about this shit.
So you guys are both open to hearing different sides of the story.
Everybody should.
You gotta really look at both sides and form an opinion. That's my opinion. No matter what side, whatever your political beliefs are, one way or the other, you're being fed crap. On depending on what story what station you watch, it's slanted. There's always an agenda, so you got to get both sides. Well, they say this. Well, this side is much more believable. It makes more sense. So I'm gonna form my opinion based on that.
Yeah, like there's an example. Like I think there was like they were reporting the current war in Ukraine, and I don't know what it was, and then they cut to a commercial at Applebee's. It's just like, the fuck are we doing here? Like, like they just try to make, I don't know. It's just, media's fucked up right now.
It is, and it's always an agenda. There's always slanted. It's always, it's awful that's what it is today. But you gotta, every person that's 18 and above needs to get educated on it because it affects everybody's lives. Policies affects everybody's lives.
And I like that you say that 18 and above, because if you're younger than 18, like, not shut the fuck up, but hey, take it easy. You know what I mean? Like, you should. Yeah, we'll save that for another time. You know what I'm saying? We'll save
like I said, that is a whole nother show topic.
We'll save that for another time because I'm sure we could get into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can be in between because if I'm being honest, I definitely need to be more knowledgeable on that. I was never, like I said off camera before we started, I just never really got into it, and you guys can definitely school me on why it's more important, and I can be like the audience that's not into it at all, and there's definitely a huge audience that's not into it that needs to be, and that can help the right people get into office.
No, but like, yeah, but like, there's also value to that, right? You're living your life in a peaceful manner too, and you're doing your own thing. And if you don't want to, like, surround yourself in politics, like, there's value to that. You live a little more peacefully than other people. Some people are wind up in it like way too much. You know what I'm saying?
There's definitely people we know. Like,
there's value to that too.
We know that are definitely way too much into it, and I think I definitely agree. I'm on that side, like, where I just don't pay attention to it at all, and I'm not even stressed about it at all. Maybe I should be, but like you said, like, I'm just living my life. I'm doing things where I feel like it makes me feel stress free, and because some people hold on to things and don't drop it. Like, there's that guy that comes around and it's, oh God, here we are. We're gonna talk about politics again. It's just like, oh Jesus. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't want to be that guy with anything, but especially with politics. That's a strong topic for a lot of people, and I don't want to rub people out the wrong way.
But but that guy is doing that for a reason, right? So either you need to sit down and listen, or you need to sit down and educate him. It's one or the other. It's a huge thing. It's a huge conversation that,
It affects every single person's life. So that's why I'm saying nowadays you got to educate yourself. Everybody that votes needs to educate, because policies make a difference. They make a difference because we all feel it.
So
you like spending $4.35 for gas? No. Well,
Wait.
Policies matter.
Absolutely.
You said it's a whole topic. All right, I get that. That's the whole other podcast. But real quick, can you explain to me why did it jump so high up quickly? Because I have no idea. I mean, I'm not gonna. What am I gonna do? Not pay for gas? I'm not paying for it.
It's a mix of things. It's supply and demand. Coming out of COVID, the demand ramped up. When President Biden took over, he made it a lot tougher for energy companies to drill. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Not that it was flowing yet; it was being built. It would have been online already. So it's everything with gas prices is futures. It's the futures. So if they think that the energy companies can drill more and have favorable government regulations, that'll drive the cost down in and of itself on there. But if you have an administration that's anti-drilling and anti-fossil fuels, you're not going to get as many leases. It's going to be a lot tougher to drill. It's going to be more expensive to drill. So that's going to drive the price up. Now, yes, the Ukraine war and the geopolitical instability drives up prices as well too. But when you're trying to get oil from Iran and Venezuela and the people in Saudi Arabia, the countries that hate us, it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. You can make it more favorable to drill in the United States. I'd rather go to Texas and Oklahoma for more energy than go to Iran and Venezuela. It can be done. We're truly energy independent over a year ago, and look at where gas prices were. But there's other factors as well too. Once again, watching both sides. It's not all one way, and It's not. There's a truth somewhere lies in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not all one way, and it's not all not the other way, but it's a mixture of a few things.
Absolutely.
No, for sure, you guys weren't lying. It's a whole other topic for a podcast.
Oh yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, you touch on one subject, you can go down this rabbit hole.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to do. We should do that.
We should do it. I'd love to come back and talk politics.
That'd be really fun to do.
You live right down the street.
Exactly.
Right down the street. So for sure. So this is my guy Tom. Do you want to plug your Instagram? Do you want to plug your Facebook or anything?
Oh, it's that. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm not a big
I'll put you at the
Instagram
bottom
guy.
of the.
TN Comella.
TN Comella. I'll put you at the bottom.
Yeah.
Follow my guy. Twins take notes. Got a great dad here. Appreciate you coming by. Really, it was a good time. And,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good time.
Pleasure.
Follow, subscribe. Guys, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, EG Pot of Thunder. Follow me on Instagram, Explore with F. And we appreciate all the listens and viewers so far. If you can share, it's really appreciated. Give us that 5-star review on Apple and Spotify and every single podcast source you can find us at. We're on there. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Follow, get it.